They have a jazz festival later on in August. So it's utilized for many events, and every event, of course, people have to pay for that. So in addition to what you're getting for electricity charge, for the power, you're getting for all these events which are taking place on the top. So that brings, of course, the investment back to those who paid for construction. We have driven now along what we call the beach, and I think the people who are from California, Florida, Australia, even New Zealand, you'll be laughing and saying, where was the beach? Well, there was the beach there that we passed, because this is what we get. We are on the Baltic Sea, which doesn't warm much in the summer, but here on that section there's a little lagoon between the islands. The water gets nicely heated, and on a nice sunny day in the summertime, that'll be pretty busy. As today is not a nice and sunny day, that's why nobody was there. And as we are approaching the airport and it cleared up a little bit more, I think in a few minutes, once we pass the airport, you will be able to see this construction of a bridge and connection between Sweden and Denmark. The strip of water between two countries is called Öresund, or the Sound of Öre. Distance is short of 10 miles, about 14 kilometers. On the other side is city of Malmö, and here is the airport of Copenhagen, which by the way serves biggest part of southern Sweden as well as much as Denmark. So for many Swedes, the easy access or the easy exit for the holidays to fly out will be from Copenhagen airport. So clever decision was to make connection between two countries. It started in 1995. It took them 5 years, and in year 2000, in July of 2000, they opened the bridge. King of Sweden, Carl Gustaf, made the half of the bridge from his Swedish side. His cousin, Queen Margareta of Denmark, who just abdicated in January for place for her son to be King of Denmark nowadays. She was a Queen of Denmark at that time. So they met together and officially opened this connection. So how does it work? In a few seconds now, when we cross the highway down below us, you see the modern highway heads to the left, and then immediately enters the tunnel. So the first section is under the water. Underwater tunnel, which is about 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles, is going under the water. And by the way, they left that section for all ships to pass. So they don't allow ships to go under the bridge, even though the clearing point of the bridge is high enough. They don't want, or they prevent maybe any accidents like what we just had a few months ago in the States, when that bridge collapsed and collided. Actually, the ship collided with the bridge and collapsed. So this section will be left for the traffic to pass. And then once they constructed the tunnel, all rocks, earth, gravel, everything which they took out, they constructed this, what you can see on the photo, and that's an artificial island. This island did not exist. So it shows you that it's pretty shallow water here, quite shallow, and then to create artificial island. Interesting story about the island. Next to it, on the left hand side, it's the natural island, so natural island, with the name Salt. And as they all have to have a name, what would be logical to call the smaller island? Pepper. So we call it Pepper Island. And you can see from the tunnel, the road emerges out, and then at the end of the artificial island, it starts going on the bridge. The bridge is about 8 kilometers or 5 miles in length, and takes you to the other side, to Sweden. So altogether 14 kilometers, 9 miles connection. The cost of this investment was about, in the time when it was made, about 3 billion, not million, but billion dollars. They're still charging every vehicle to cross. Quite steep tolls are collected. If you're going just one crossing, it will cost you about $60. But as we have so many people who are commuting on daily basis, they have huge concessions, and maybe something like three quarters of the price is knocked off for those who are using it regularly. The lower part of the bridge is also railway line, so we have trains crossing every 15 minutes from Sweden to Denmark, and this way they actually made this whole community of nearly 2.5 million people in Denmark and Sweden. So it made possible for people to commute to each other end and look for work. We know that traditionally Danes go to Sweden looking for their summer homes, while Swedes come to Denmark for drinking, boozing and having parties. So, and also of course to work, because sale of alcohol in Sweden and in Norway is much more restricted than in Denmark. In Denmark you can buy it in every shop. You can buy alcohol, while in Sweden and in Norway, no, only special shops controlled by government, where you can get this stronger alcohol than beer. Beer is the strongest you can get in supermarkets in Sweden and in Norway. Looking on the left side, you can see now it's much more clearer, better. 11 o'clock angle, you can see how the bridge comes out. And looking also on the other side, you can see the buildings of Malmö, city of Malmö on the other side. So that's Sweden. That's how two countries are. Yeah, you got a good view now, and also from the village that we're gonna go down to, will be also good view. Now we're heading to the village with interesting name, and I think you know that in English language that we use nowadays, there's many words from the Scandinavian languages, the influence of Norwegian and Danish Vikings who crossed to the British Isles already from the end of the 8th century and stayed up to mid-11th. They left, many legacy there with the names of the villages, towns, surnames for the people, and also, of course, the many words used in our vocabulary. So in Danish, this village is spelled D-R-A-G-O-R. So you would pronounce it like Dragor, yeah? D-R-A-G-O-R, Dragor. But Danish language is maybe one of the most difficult ones to learn pronunciation, as they having many throat sounds, plus they don't pronounce every letter when they say the word. So their pronunciation for this village will be Trau, Trau. So very strong that throat R that they get out of their throat. So what does it mean? That is the same meaning like in English, dragging, pulling something out. So what was happening here for centuries, this was the fishing village. That fishermen would be dragging out of the sea boats and fishing nets. Also for centuries, generations of villagers were the pilots on the small boats, like guiding the big ships and vessels through the shallow water of Öresund. So that was their traditional occupation. And then in the time of 17th century, where that King Christian IV, the father of the Danish nation, he invited some Dutch farmers who came here, and they showed the locals how to do farming. So they started producing vegetables.